Hello everyone. So we are into a fresh unit, complex analysis, and we will start with the basics of complex variable. Then we will see what is the complex functions using complex variables. And then we'll see what is analytic function and then the Cauchy's-Riemann equations. We'll also see Cauchy's theorem and Cauchy's theorem for the extension, Cauchy's integral formula and for its derivative, residue theorems, the Taylor's and Lorentz series, and complex integration also. Also, the last topic will be residue theorem. So, let's start with the basics about the complex variable. So, this complex variable z, which is given as x plus I y, where both x and y are x and y are real. So this x is taken to be real part of z and y is taken to be imaginary part of z. In the Cartesian form or in the rectangular plot, if this is x, which is the real part, this is y, then maybe somewhere here we will have this x comma y. So joining this line, this is our z. Let's say it is at an angle of theta. Then the mod value or the absolute value of z, which is also given as r, is nothing but the distance of this point from the origin. So this is x square plus y square. And then argument of z, which is the angle it is making with the x axis, is tan inverse of y by x, which is given as theta. We have to make sure that in which quadrant we are. If we are in the first quadrant, it is theta. If we are in the let's say second quadrant, it is going to be pi minus theta. If we are in the third quadrant, it is going to be pi plus theta, and if we are in the fourth quadrant, it is going to be minus theta, right? Also, we can see that the components x will be r cos theta and y will be r sin theta. So this z can also be given as r cos theta plus I r sin theta. Now, as per the Euler's theorem, e to the power of I theta is given as cos theta plus I sin theta. So this z can be given as r e I theta. Yes. Also, there is a term called z conjugate, which is x minus I y. So the imaginary part is multiplied with negative factor. In that case, this will become r cos theta minus I times of r sin theta, which can be given as z conjugate is equal to r times of e minus I theta. As it is known that if ei theta is given like this, e minus I theta is given as cos theta minus I sin theta. Also, from here we can say cos theta will be e I theta plus e minus I theta divided by 2. We can sum up and then divide by 2. And cos of, sine of theta is equal to e I theta minus ei theta divided by 2. The operations on the complex variable says, let's say if z1 is r1 ei theta 1 and z2 is r2 ei theta 2, then z1 into z2 can be given as r1 into r2 and the arguments will be added. So this is theta 1 plus theta 2. Similarly, if we are dividing z1 by z2, this is r1 by r2, whereas the angle will become ei theta 1 minus theta 2. And if we have to find z into z conjugate, we know this is x plus iy into x minus iy. This becomes x square plus y square, which is nothing but the square of the absolute value. And if this z1 is given as in rectangular form, let's say x1 plus jy1, z2 is equal to x2 plus jy2, then this can be added or subtracted, taking the real and imaginary part separately. Other than that, we have De Moivre's theorem. It says that cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n can be given as cos of n theta plus I sin of n theta. That is, e to the power of I n theta is this. This can also help us to find the nth root. Let's say we have to find square root of a variable, complex variable z. So for that n we can write it is to be n equal to 1 by 2, right? And we can find the nth root of any of the variable in that manner. Also, which is very important, and you'll see questions on this, if a complex function is raised to another complex function, in that case we know that e to the power of x can be written as e to the power of x log a, right? That is taking, or otherwise it is also written as e to the power of log of a to the power of x. So basically what we are doing is we are first taking a log and also anti-log. So log and anti-log can be cancelled. So in that manner this can be written as e to the power of log of z1 to the power of z2. As per the property of log, this can be written as z2 into log of z1. Now if we can write this z1 in the polar form, let's say r e I theta, and z2 in the rectangular form, let's say x plus I y, then by the property of log, ln AB will become ln A plus ln B, right? So in that case this is going to be e to the power of x plus iy into log of r e I theta. We also know that this cos and sine is having a time period of 2 pi, so this theta can also be written as theta plus 2n pi, taking this n to be integer, which means this is nothing but e to the power of x plus iy into, now this log of r and log of ei theta can be given in the sum sense, so log of r plus log of ei theta. So log and anti-log will get cancelled, and instead of theta we can also write theta plus 2n pi. So this is what we'll have. Now you can see that this is also a complex variable as real and imaginary part, and this is also having real and imaginary part. So complex multiplication will, like, let's assume that it is going to give a plus I b. Don't relate this a and b from this, which can be given as e to the power of a into e to the power of ib, and which can be given as e to the power of a into cos b plus I sin b. So this is nothing but your z1 to the power of z2. So this e to the power a will be taken as r, or the absolute value, and this cos bn plus I sin b will have the modulus to be 1, but it can give you the angle, right? So this is how we can write a complex power raised to another complex power. We'll see some questions also on this.